Hello, everyone. I'm Anime Octopus, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today, we're diving into an exciting fanfiction scenario. What if Naruko was shaped by her past shadows? Before we begin, a quick disclaimer: the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage used in my videos. Full credit goes to their respective creators and copyright holders. Now, without further ado, let's get started. A calm night in the Hidden Leaf Village. Night had settled over the Hidden Leaf Village, with a crisp September breeze whispering through the trees. The full moon hung high, casting a gentle glow over the rooftops and streets below. From atop the Hokage monument, one could see the village bathed in soft silver light. In the distance, a small figure dashed through the winding paths, pursued by a group of villagers. "Why are you chasing me? I haven't done anything to you," the young child called out, her voice laced with confusion and fear. "Don't think we've forgotten. You carry the presence of the creature that caused us so much pain," the leader of the group declared. "I don't understand what you're talking about. My name is Naruko," she shouted back, her legs carrying her swiftly through the familiar streets. She turned a corner, only to find herself at a dead end. This isn't good, she thought anxiously. The group slowed as they approached, their expressions tense. "There's nowhere left to run," the leader stated. Naruko's heart pounded as they closed in. Just as one of them reached for her, a sudden presence filled the air. A sharp gust of wind rushed past, and in the blink of an eye, a shadowy figure appeared between Naruko and the villagers. The air seemed to grow heavy with an unseen force, causing the group to hesitate. "That is enough," the figure's voice was calm yet firm. The villagers exchanged uneasy glances, suddenly unsure of themselves. One by one, they stepped back, their earlier determination fading into uncertainty. Naruko, still catching her breath, looked up at her unexpected savior. Though exhausted and confused, she felt a strange sense of reassurance. The tension in the air gradually dissolved, and the group slowly dispersed, murmuring amongst themselves. As the last of them disappeared into the night, Naruko let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. Turning to the figure who had intervened, she tried to speak but found no words. "You should head home," the figure advised gently before vanishing as quickly as they had appeared. Left alone beneath the moonlit sky, Naruko stood in silence, the night once again peaceful. Whatever had just happened, she knew one thing: she would not allow fear to define her. With renewed determination, she took a deep breath and turned toward home, ready to face whatever came next. In the midst of the chaos, Naruko spotted a figure dressed entirely in sleek, black attire that fit closely to his form. As he approached the injured child, he lowered his weapon and knelt beside Naruko, carefully turning her over. She tried to get a clear view of his face, but a mask concealed it entirely. The man examined Naruko's injuries and quickly noticed something astonishing: her wounds were healing at an unnatural speed, far beyond anything he had ever witnessed, even surpassing the effects of advanced medical ninjutsu. "I've taken care of those who attacked you," the man said. "What happened to make them so angry?" Naruko, her voice soft yet steady, replied, "They accused me of harming their families and wanted revenge. But I've never hurt anyone in my life." The man seemed to consider her words carefully before extending his hand. "Stand up," he instructed. To her surprise, Naruko was able to rise without much difficulty. Reaching for the wound on her neck, she found that it had completely closed. "You possess an extraordinary ability to heal far beyond normal human limits," the man observed. "It may even be a Kekkei Genkai." This revelation stunned Naruko. She had always wondered why her injuries disappeared so quickly compared to others. The possibility of possessing a rare and powerful ability filled her with excitement. "Tell me, do you wish to become a ninja?" the man inquired. Naruko didn't hesitate. "Yes. I want to be Hokage," she declared with determination. The man studied her for a moment before asking, "And why do you want to become Hokage?" "So that the people of the village will acknowledge me," Naruko answered. "And to protect everyone." The man let out a quiet sigh. That is not the strongest reason to pursue such a path, he said. Where was the Hokage when you needed protection? Why do you wish to safeguard those who have turned against you? And how do you intend to protect anyone when you are not yet strong enough to defend yourself? Naruko lowered her gaze, struggling to find a response. She had never deeply considered these questions. To her, the Hokage was someone everyone admired, and she wanted that recognition too. You want to know why I became a ninja? The man asked, breaking the silence. Naruko looked up at him and gave a simple nod. I follow 3 rules, he began. Let's call them that. Rule 1, leave your emotions behind. On a mission, even a moment of hesitation can put everything at risk. If you allow emotions to cloud your judgment, your chances of success will plummet. Rule 2, intelligence, skill, and information are your greatest assets. Strength alone won't secure victory. If you are smarter than your opponent, your chances of survival increase significantly. Remember, even the strongest warrior can be defeated with a single, well-placed kunai. But intelligence alone isn't enough, you must refine your skills. No amount of strategy will help you defeat a Kage if your abilities are only at a beginner's level. And finally, information is more valuable than gold. In war, knowing your enemy's position could mean the difference between victory and defeat. Rule 3, keep your distance from others, but if you do let someone in, be prepared to protect them with everything you have. If you allow someone past the walls you build around yourself, then their safety becomes your responsibility. Naruko listened intently, absorbing every word. These rules were unlike anything she had heard before, and they made her question everything she thought she knew about being a ninja. Naruko absorbed everything the man had just shared with her. Even at 8 years old, she could tell that the person in front of her spoke from experience. Do you have people close to you? Naruko asked curiously. Not anymore, and I intend to keep it that way. That's why I no longer belong to any village, I prefer to keep my distance, the stranger replied, his voice tinged with regret. Naruko fell into deep thought, reflecting on everything that had just occurred. Moments ago, she had been in danger, and out of nowhere, this man had arrived and intervened. He had not only saved her but also challenged her dreams, offering her a new perspective on the world. She still didn't know his name, but one thing was clear, he was strong, and he had made it this far by following his own principles. I understand what you're saying, and I can see that your way of thinking has worked for you, Naruko said thoughtfully. I've decided to follow those principles as well. Then, looking up at him with gratitude, she asked, by the way, what's your name? I want to thank you for saving me. I no longer have a name, the man replied simply. And those people were wrong in their actions. No one deserves to be treated that way, especially not a child. Now, tell me where your home is so I can take you there safely. Naruko nodded and provided the location. The man placed a hand on her shoulder, and in an instant, they arrived at what she called home, though it barely deserved the name. The building was in such poor condition that it looked as if it might collapse at any moment. The man summoned a scroll into his hand and held it out to her. This contains everything you need to learn how to wield a scythe properly. It also includes instructions on maintenance, as well as other useful information. Thank you, sir, Naruko said sincerely, appreciating both the gift and his guidance. Learn to use it well. Protect yourself. Become strong and respected. And never hesitate to seek knowledge or guidance, it will only make you better. Before Naruko could respond, the man vanished. She stood there in shock, trying to process what had just happened. This stranger, whom she had never met before, had saved her, given her advice, and even offered her a valuable tool for her future. It was more kindness than anyone had ever shown her before. As the adrenaline from the night's events faded, Naruko began to feel the toll it had taken on her body. Her muscles ached, her head pounded, and her neck still felt sore from the earlier attack. She shivered at the memory. Without wasting any time, she changed out of her blood-stained clothes, took a quick shower, and collapsed onto her bed, exhausted. Naruko awoke with a start. That was such a strange dream. Who was that mysterious figure? She wondered aloud. As she sat up in bed, her eyes landed on a black scythe resting on the floor beside a scroll. So, it wasn't a dream after all, she murmured to herself. She reached for the scythe, examining its striking appearance. The entire weapon, including the blade, was a deep, shadowy black. It stood at approximately 5.5 feet tall, yet felt remarkably lightweight for its size. The blade itself spanned about 8 inches at its widest point and extended outward for nearly 2 feet before tapering to a sharp edge. Curious about its sharpness, Naruko lightly traced her fingers along the blade. Almost instantly, a thin red line appeared on her fingertip. She was astonished, she had applied no pressure at all, yet the blade had effortlessly sliced her skin. Turning her attention to the scroll, Naruko carefully unrolled it and began reading. It contained detailed instructions on how to wield the scythe, emphasizing the importance of fluid movements for maximum efficiency. The scroll also explained the best techniques for maneuvering the weapon to prevent it from getting caught during combat. As she continued reading, she discovered intricate strategies for scythe-based combat, along with a list of taijutsu techniques that complemented its use. One particular technique caught her eye, something called the Life of Shadows. However, aside from its name, there was no additional information about it, leaving her puzzled. The scroll also mentioned that there were different types of scythes, each with unique properties. Naruko was eager to begin training with her newfound weapon but hesitated. She knew that if anyone saw her with it, they might confiscate it or report her to the authorities, who could then deny its existence altogether. Deciding that it was best to seek guidance, she resolved to visit the Hokage. As Naruko walked through the village streets, she couldn't help but notice the murmurs and side glances directed at her. She had long grown accustomed to them, but that didn't make them any less difficult to endure. Choosing to ignore the whispers, she kept her head down and continued on her way. As she neared the Hokage's office, she overheard a conversation between two villagers. "Did you hear what happened last night?" one of them asked. "Yes, I heard a group went after that child, and the next thing anyone knew, they were left injured, while she was nowhere to be found," the other responded. "Something needs to be done before things get out of hand." Noticing Naruko passing by, the villagers shot her wary looks before returning to their discussion. Upon entering the Hokage Tower, Naruko approached the receptionist. Miyuki, unlike many others in the village, did not blame Naruko for past events beyond her control. As a result, she always treated her kindly. "Naruko-chan, here to see the Hokage?" Miyuki asked with a warm smile. "Yes, is he available?" Naruko inquired. "You're in luck. He doesn't have any meetings for the next couple of hours," Miyuki replied. Nodding in appreciation, Naruko made her way toward the Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi, the third Hokage, was a highly respected leader known by many titles, the most renowned being the Professor, a name he secretly took pride in. However, at that moment, he was deep in thought. A disturbing incident had occurred the previous night, and there were no clear explanations. Several villagers had been found injured, and there were no solid leads. The situation was troubling. If an unknown individual had entered the village undetected, it posed a serious security risk. Just then, the door opened, and Naruko stepped inside. Hiruzen greeted her warmly but immediately sensed that something was different. She wasn't displaying her usual bright smile, and her posture seemed more reserved than usual. When she formally addressed him as Hokage-sama, he knew something was definitely amiss. "What's wrong, Naruko?" Hiruzen asked gently. Naruko studied the aged Hokage for a moment, carefully considering her words. "You might want to sit down for this," she said before recounting the events of the previous night. As Hiruzen listened, a deep concern settled over him. The idea that a group of villagers had attempted to harm Naruko disturbed him greatly. Regardless of any past circumstances, no child deserved to be treated that way. Though he kept his emotions hidden, the injustice of it all filled him with quiet frustration. However, when Naruko described the mysterious stranger, his focus sharpened. "Did you get a good look at their face? How tall were they? What was their hair color? Did they say why they were in the village? He asked, eager for any clues. Naruko shook her head. No. Like I mentioned before, they were dressed in a completely black outfit with a mask covering their entire face. They refused to share their name. I'll tell you what they said about the village in a moment, just let me finish explaining first. She continued recounting the events in full detail, and when she was done, she looked to Hiruzen expectantly. The Hokage leaned back in his chair, absorbing everything she had shared. This situation left him with more questions than answers. A masked figure had entered the village undetected, intervened in the conflict, and given Naruko a weapon. While it was clear that this person had protected her, they had also broken the law by taking matters into their own hands. Then there was the scythe. The stranger had left Naruko with a powerful weapon, seemingly as a means of self-defense. Yet, something about the entire situation felt unusual. Why would an unknown individual entrust such an item to a child? And what impact would this have on Naruko's future? Hiruzen knew one thing for certain: he would need to keep a closer watch over Naruko from now on. Naruko, may we take a look at the scythe and scroll that were given to you? Hiruzen asked kindly. Naruko appeared slightly hesitant at the request. Observing her reaction, Hiruzen offered reassurance. This is merely a precaution. Remember, a stranger, whom we know nothing about, gave these to you. I simply want to ensure there's no potential risk. I promise that once I confirm everything is safe, you'll be able to keep them. Hearing this, Naruko brightened slightly and admitted, I left them at home. I was worried that someone might try to take them from me. I see, Hiruzen responded thoughtfully. That's understandable. In that case, why don't we go to your place and examine them there? Afterward, I'll treat you to some ramen. Naruko's face instantly lit up with excitement. The idea of a free meal, especially ramen, was too good to resist. All right. She agreed enthusiastically. I mean, you did promise to give them back, so I don't see any harm in it. As they made their way to Naruko's home, Hiruzen instructed his assistant to reschedule his meetings until later in the afternoon. Upon arriving at Naruko's apartment, she quickly retrieved the scythe and scroll from her room and handed them over. Hiruzen first examined the scythe. Despite its size, it was surprisingly lightweight, and he took note of its sleek, all-black design. As he channeled chakra into it, he was mildly surprised by how effortlessly the energy flowed. Carefully inspecting the weapon for any hidden seals or anomalies, he found nothing concerning. Satisfied, he moved on to the scroll and read through its contents. As Naruko had described, it primarily contained information on mastering the scythe, anatomical insights, strategic applications, and maintenance instructions. Everything appears to be perfectly fine, Naruko, Hiruzen assured her. There are no dangers associated with using this scythe. In fact, it's quite a remarkable weapon, exceptionally well crafted and valuable. Its ability to conduct chakra so easily could prove to be an incredible advantage when you begin working on nature transformation techniques. Naruko beamed with excitement. She had gained an invaluable tool that would aid her future as a ninja. However, she had more questions, ones that had been weighing on her mind. The person who gave me this told me that my fast healing is unusual, maybe even a special ability. He said it could be a Kekkei Genkai. Why do I have it? Do you think it could help me learn more about my parents? She asked curiously. Hiruzen paused, carefully considering his response. He couldn't reveal everything, not yet. You're right, Naruko. Your healing ability is extraordinary. However, from what I recall, the Uzumaki clan was known for their remarkable vitality and longevity. It's possible that trait evolved into your accelerated healing? As for your parents, I've searched through numerous records, but the only conclusion I could reach is that the Uzumaki suffered great losses during the Second Great Ninja War. Your mother or father may have been one of the few survivors, but beyond that, I haven't been able to determine their exact identities. His tone carried a note of regret. Naruko listened intently, though a hint of disappointment showed in her expression. Still, she pressed on with another question. The person also told me to seek guidance. Do you think there's anyone who could help me with that? Maybe someone who could train me? I want to learn more about taijutsu and how I can incorporate this scythe into my fighting style. Also, I'd really like to enroll in the academy, she explained. Hiruzen stroked his beard in thought. This was a significant decision. If I assign her a mentor, it could be seen as favoritism, he mused. But then again, all the clan heirs receive private training from their families. After careful consideration, he finally spoke. I know just the person who could guide you. However, be prepared, he has rather unconventional methods, and his training can be quite demanding. If he agrees to take you as his student, you must commit yourself fully to learning. As for the academy, I'll make sure you're enrolled as soon as possible. Naruko could hardly contain her excitement. She was going to have a mentor, begin her training as a ninja, and to top it all off, she was getting free ramen for lunch. Today was turning out to be an incredible day. Later that day, Hiruzen remained deep in thought, reflecting on whether he should proceed with the decision he had shared with Naruko earlier. I can't afford to waver now. I've already given my word, and a promise must be upheld. Leaning back in his chair, he signaled one of his Anbu operatives. Bring Might Guy at once, he instructed. After a brief wait, two figures stood before him, the Anbu he had sent and the individual he had summoned. Hokage-sama, what an invigorating day. May I ask the reason for this meeting? Is there an important mission at hand? Guy inquired with his usual enthusiasm. Please, have a seat, Guy. This discussion may take some time, Hiruzen responded, his expression composed and serious. Guy complied, taking a seat as he awaited further explanation. Guy, how would you feel about taking on an apprentice? The Hokage asked, his tone measured. The energetic ninja took a moment to reflect before responding, Hokage-sama, it would be an honor. Guiding a young and determined soul is truly a privilege. May I ask who this promising individual is? Hiruzen gave a firm nod before answering, Naruko Uzumaki. A recent situation has made it clear that she must learn how to properly defend herself. She has also embraced a newfound dedication to self-improvement and has personally requested training in taijutsu. Given your expertise, I believe there is no one more suited for the task than Konoha's esteemed Blue Beast. Guy immediately understood the importance of the request and was pleasantly surprised by Naruko's eagerness to specialize in taijutsu. Hokage-sama, I give you my word, I will train her with unwavering dedication. By the time she completes her studies at the academy, she will have cultivated formidable taijutsu skills. Guy declared confidently, striking his signature nice guy pose. Hiruzen nodded with satisfaction. See that you do, Guy. I trust you will guide her well. Hey, my amazing YouTube family. That's a wrap for the first part, hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more awesome content. Stay tuned, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Anime Octopus.